Okay.
Good afternoon, Radcliffe Head Start. Today we are here with a kindergarten teacher from North Park. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, guys. My name is Elizabeth McIntosh. I teach kindergarten at North Park. I'm finishing up my 5th year, but it's finishing up my 11th year teaching kindergarten. I taught for 6 years in Tennessee before we moved here 6 years ago. My husband and I live in Vine Grove. We have one little boy who is just finishing up kindergarten himself, and then we have 3 foster kids who are in kindergarten, 1st grade, and then we have an 18-month-old as well.
Awesome. So what is a day like in kindergarten, and will the children get a nap?
A day is very busy. We have lots going on. We start our day in the mornings with, in my classroom at least, we start with like our morning meeting time, and we have our whole group math time, and we have a computer lab time that we have every day, or well, every other day now. We used to have it every day, but we had so many teachers last year that we had to go to every other day. Then we do reading, our small group reading or math time, which is usually about 45 minutes. And that looks different in every classroom. Some classrooms rotate. I don't rotate centers in my classroom. The kids are doing different things the whole time in my classroom, but we don't do the 4 traditional rotations. But some teachers still do that. It's whatever works for us. We have lunch. We have our specials. Every day they'll go to either music, art, PE, or library. And then that 5th day, each quarter they rotate through another one of those 4 places. And that's 45 minutes a day. Then so classes that had small group math time, we'll have small group reading time afterwards. So I do reading in the morning, I do math in the afternoon, and then we have a developmental center time, which is just basically a free play, fun time for the kids to be creative and to just play with toys and manipulatives and things like that, just to get their hands moving and their brains thinking. And then they have an outdoor gross motor time that's about 30 minutes every day as well. We do not have a built-in nap time. We start our day, the bell rings at 7:10. The kids can come in the building at 7:10. The bell rings for the day to start at 7:40. So we start at 7:40 and we work until 2:05 when the bell rings, and I take the majority of the kids to the bus, and my assistant would take the others to the car rider line. But car riders are picked up at 2:15. It's busy. It's fun. It's energetic. We try to keep them as engaged as possible. We don't do a lot of worksheets. Most of it's hands-on. There are some. I won't say that there aren't any, but it's high energy all day long. Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Sorry, is kindergarten required?
In the state of Kentucky, half-day kindergarten is required. The law says that we have to go half of a school day for kindergarten. Our district believes that kindergarten is vitally important to their foundation and school, so the state pays for half of it, and then the district pays for the other half of the day for us.
How is kindergarten like preschool?
We still have a lot of hands-on things. We still have like our playtime. There's still toys in our classrooms. Lots of love and attention to the kids. It's very student-centered and student-focused.
What are the consequences for making poor choices?
That's going to be different from class to class. Typically, it's a loss of privileges. It's a timeout. We do a lot of warnings. Each classroom in our building has a clip chart, and everybody starts on green every day. And if you're making good choices, you get to clip up. And if you're making poor choices, then you'll have to clip down sometimes. We try to do a 4-to-1 ratio, so 4 positives for every 1 negative that we have to do. That way the kids are just being oversaturated with good stuff. And the focus is not on so much of the negative.
So the next one has quite a few at one, which kind of you've already touched on. What time does school start?
Okay.
And what time does it end? And then what time do buses usually run? And is there a truancy policy for kindergarten?
Okay. So, like I said, the bell for the kids to come into the building rings at 7:10. The doors open at 7:10. So from 7:10 to 7:40, parents are dropping kids off. I have kids that come in at 7:10. I have kids that don't come in until 7:40. They are not counted tardy until 7:40. There's two bells. One rings at 7:35. One rings at 7:40. They're not counted tardy until that 7:40 bell rings. The end of the day, we put kids, the bell rings at 2:05. We put kids on the buses at 2:05. We head out to the buses at 2:05. And then parent pickups, the bell for that rings at 2:15. And those kids start coming to the cafeteria to be picked up. There was a question in between there. What was it?
The buses. What time do they start?
I do not know. You mean what
time on average would the children be catching a bus per se if they're bus riders?
In the morning?
Yes,
so in the morning, I think they start about 6:30, but I'm not 100% sure on that. If there are any questions about that, they can call up to North Park and ask to speak to our assistant principal, Kelly Stone. She's our bus guru. She does all of that for us. And once we get in the group of things, they will tell the parents, this is what time your pickup is, this is what time your drop-off is. They have it pretty well narrowed down to a minute or so.
And then is there a truancy policy?
Because kindergarten is only required half day in the state of Kentucky, there is a truancy policy, but it would be an extreme situation. It would take a child missing. We're required 180 days in the state. It would take a child missing over 90 days of school for that to kick in. So it would be an extreme situation. We have never had a situation like that. That being said, it is vitally important that they come to school. If they're not at school, we can't teach them. And they're missing out on really good instruction.
Right. The next three questions kind of already been picked up too. The latest the child could be picked up. And what if they are late to school? What is the tardy?
So the latest they can pick a kid up, that kind of varies just because sometimes we have parents that don't come in and get their kid. They can't be there at 2:15 to pick their child up. So sometimes if it's going to be a few minutes, then they could work something out with the office where the child just goes into the office for a few minutes until the parent gets there. There's really not a set time. People are at school until about 4:30. So after that, they want to be there for sure. But there's not really a set. We prefer that they pick them up when it's time to pick them up, but we understand that things happen, life happens, there are situations. But just make sure that they stay in contact with the school if that's going to happen.
And is there an after-school program? And if so, how much does it cost?
Okay, we do not have an after-school program at North Park. The way the district works it is if your child is zoned for Radcliffe, then your child would go to the Radcliffe after-school program. If your child is zoned for Woodland, they would go to the Woodland after-school program. The same for Meadowview and Vine Grove. Those are our 4 feeder schools. So depending on which school you're zoned for, that's the after-school program that you would go to. We would put their child on a bus and send them to the particular school that they're going to. And then the people at the school, so if I'm sick, my child's zoned for Vine Grove. So if I want to send him to the after-school program, then I would put him on the bus to go to Vine Grove Elementary, and somebody there would pick him up off the bus and put him in the after-school program. As far as cost goes, I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. That's another call your zone school, and they can tell you.
Okay, and when do all the forms, including the medical ones, need to be turned in? I know it's a little bit different with the whole COVID-19 going on right now. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, what do they need before they can start enrolling school, and what do they the grace period for getting forms?
Right. Typically, they want those forms as soon as possible. If you don't have them the first day of school, they're not going to tell you that your child can't come to school, but they do have to have those as soon as possible to get all the records updated and completed. I want to say by Christmas they're looking for certain forms for sure, but I'm not 100% on that. If your child is missing,
they can't start. Sorry, I know with Head Start, they can't start unless they have the immunization record. Is that the same?
That has not No, that has not been the case at North Park in the past. My understanding, though, is that maybe the law is changing on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But if the law changes, then yes, they would be required to have proof of immunizations before a child could enroll. Typically, though, we like to just get them in the door so we can start teaching them. Also, if they're missing certain forms, then our attendance secretary is very good about sending home forms that say, these are the forms your child is missing. Please get these in as soon as possible.
And finally, how much are the school lunches and I guess breakfast as well for the students?
Okay. Hardin County schools, not all of them, but a lot of them receive a grant through the state, or it may actually be through the federal government. I'm not sure on that either, but we receive a grant, so school lunches and breakfast are 100% free for every student at North Park, at least. And I believe for all 4 of our feeder schools as well.
All right. Thank you so much. That's all the questions we have.
All right. You're welcome.
Thank you for taking your time out.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking. And I look forward to meeting some of those kiddos next year.
Oh, yeah. We have quite a few coming over there.
Oh, great. We're excited.